Hey everyone, and welcome to the Chao Games Forecast. Last time we covered July games and it was pretty empty. Not many games came out, but it still had some good releases, with the highlights in my opinion being Pikmin 4 and Viewfinder, which I forgot to talk about last time. August is coming in fast and it looks like it is going to be hitting pretty hard. Fortunately for me, there aren't that many games that I'm like super urgent to get. That's the fortunate part. There's a few things in there, but other than those few things, I feel like I'm pretty safe for this month. It's the start of that gaming storm that we were talking about that's going to be going on for a few months. So with that being said, I'm your host Itachi, and let's get into it. And right from the 3rd of August, we do get Baldur's Gate 3, which I know very little about. I actually thought this game had come out already. And as I was looking into this game, I realized that it's because it was early access on Stadia in 2020. Which makes a lot of sense because I do remember seeing a lot of ads for this game at the time. And it's kind of crazy to see that it's getting out of early access now and finally getting off the cloud, because that's where it was stuck on. At least until Stadia ended, fortunately. Or unfortunately, depending if you were a buyer of the service. But this is just the PC release. The PS5 release is actually in September, and there is an Xbox port in development, but that doesn't have any news just yet. This game is another huge top-down action-adventure game like Diablo, and it is apparently gigantic. The dev team has stated that their regular playthroughs clock in at about 74 to 100 hours, which is really long, but that could also be the dev team inflating their hours to like get on the good side of some people, since people really like, I don't know. There's a lot of marketing that could go into it, but for now, that's what we have at the moment, 74 to 100 hours. Early impressions have been good. And apparently, you can mate with a druid as a bear. So, congrats to the people that are playing Baldur's Gate 3 soon. After Baldur's Gate 3, it does get a little bit quiet, but then it starts to get funky again on August 18th with the release of Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. And yeah, it's finally coming out. It's been a long time coming. Obviously, it's a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. You can see it just by looking at the gameplay. This game was announced back in 2020 with an incredibly positive reception. It feels to me like the hype has died down a little bit, but I know that there are still a good amount of people that are really excited about this. Every trailer that has been shown has looked really good, and each trailer has shown the care that is being put into this project. The last Jet Set game was released about over 20 years ago, so most people have absolutely no idea what that series is. There are rumors that a new game is in development, so eyes are definitely on this project. We don't have too much longer to wait. People will finally get the Jet Set itch scratched soon. And this is a really good time for the game to release because there is a little bit of hype swelling for a Jet Set type of experience. Okay, I lied. There is something after Baldur's Gate 3 and before Bomber Cyberpunk. I just forgot to talk about it because I just skimmed past it in my notes while recording for some reason. But I don't want to re-record the Bomber Cyberpunk section, even though it wasn't that long. So we're just gonna go a little backwards for a second, and that is for August 10th with Stray, and it is coming to Xbox consoles. This is a great addition to the library, and I do highly recommend it to anyone that has not played it. It has been one of the biggest surprises in recent memory for me. The world is just super interesting, and if you like finding a lore within an environment, then this game has plenty. A lot of the world building is done through the environment rather than through the actual story of it, which is hit or miss with some people, but I really liked how it was done, and it still kept the story interesting. The further you get, the more things start to click together in your head, and the easier pieces start falling together. It's also a super short game. I beat it in, I think, a little under 4 hours, and I know some people want longer games, like Baldur's Gate, but I think there's validity in more condensed experiences. And why wouldn't you want to play as a cat? Like, look, it's right there. It's so cute. Sorry about that. Let's get back to our chronological order with Immortals of Avium, and that releases on August 22nd, and I feel nothing about this game. We got the first tease of this at the Game Awards last year, and we got gameplay of it this year. Although I don't feel anything for it, I have been seeing an unusual amount of excitement for it, at least in the EA sphere of things. There's definitely hope from people that this game does well so that EA puts more effort into their single player games. I guess the best thing I can say when I see the gameplay is that it looks like there are interesting shooter mechanics. Since it's heavily magic based, it looks like the abilities are varied, and I do like the visual aspect of it, or the visual awe of it, I mean. The momentum carried by the magic grapple also looks pretty smooth, so hopefully the rest of the movement feels good too. I think movement shooters are really fun, so that could be something this game has going for it. But that's all I can really say, so fingers crossed that this ends up being the hit that people are hoping that it is. And the last 2 games for the month do come out on the same day, and the first that I will be talking about is
Samba de Amigo Party Central,
another series that has been dead for a long time, and Sega's finally doing something with it. And yep, it's a title. This is clearly going to be a cheap effort in gauging interest for the series. It's a basic rhythm game, but it will have songs from legacy Sega series. Unfortunately, I just don't see this title doing well. It's still super cool that we're getting something out of this series though. I do hope Sega tries this with more series, or even tries taking their legacy series in different directions, changing the genres a bit. I just don't think that Samba de Amigo is gonna do well, unfortunately. And again, on August 29th, there is one more game to talk about, and that is Sea of Stars, a highly anticipated title, at least in the indie game scene. Although I don't want to underplay it, it is a pretty big title. This is an RPG by Sabotage Studio, and it is a prequel to The Messenger, which came out in 2018. The Messenger is already highly acclaimed, and Sea of Stars looks beautiful. It looks absolutely amazing. Taking the prequel to such a well-received game into a new genre is risky. The Messenger was an action platformer, and this prequel is a turn-based RPG? Like, I don't know what they were thinking, but I'm glad that they thought of it. There's a lot that could go wrong in this project, but it seems like it's gonna be great. There's just so much polish into it. The style and animations look super smooth, the art is beautiful, the gameplay looks in-depth, with battles even taking place on the same ground that you encounter enemies on, which is one of my favorite things that I've seen about this game. And this game just looks incredible. I'm excited for it. It's one of the few games that's coming out this month that I do plan on getting, or at least playing on Game Pass, and hopefully gets a physical release so I can get it on Switch later. But yeah, I'm excited. And that covers the games I found notable or am looking forward to for August of 2023. There were a lot of games this time around, and though I didn't care about a lot of them, I still thought they were important to mention. August is just the start for what will be a crazy few final months of releases. With all the games coming out, I'm sure I missed some, so let me know what games I missed and what games you're looking forward to in the comments below. This was the Chao Games forecast for August 2023, and we'll see you in the next one.